Guys, welcome back to another fire episode of Unscripted Exchanges. If you can tell, I'm rocking our new merch, our hat, our shirt. Can't really see some back here. I've got Hayden to my left, and then if you don't see him, you probably do. Mr. Heath Hoogerhyde is on with us today. We're excited to have you back on here, Mr. Hoogs. It's our first return guest. We had to beg and plead with him and his whole team to get on his schedule, and then Jimmy almost fucked it up for us. But we're here, ready to go. So thanks for joining us, Heath.
Yeah, of course. I'm excited to be back.
Lots
changed since we talked. So
good change.
Oh yeah, really good. New customers, fun stuff.
Dude, I love to hear it. If you can't tell, I don't know how energetic you guys are tonight, but I'm going to bring it for the whole group, okay? I'm bundling it all in here today, Hayden. Hayden, what do you want to say to kick it off? You're kind of mellow right now. Give me some.
My brain's still not working 100% after Jimmy tripped over some cords. I mean, this is a shame that we've had two mishaps with Heath here, but hey, we're ready to rock and roll with a lot of good conversation.
Dude, as long as we get the audio at this point, like now we can match the audio with the video, we'll be perfect. Well, I want to give everybody listening a little bit of background on Mr. Heath Hoogerhyde. Heath was episode that was like episode 8 or 9, back when we first got started, right?
Yeah, it was.
That was, man. It was it was winter. It was last winter. So we got it back on the show. I'm going to give you guys a brief synopsis of the first episode we had with Heath. We had some technical difficulties with the audio, but Heath is the owner of Hoogs Customs. He also runs a Hoogs Custom Parts. It's a detail and audio body repair place, correct? And do detailing, framework, you do tenting. Unbelievable. I mean, if you follow his Instagram handles, that's the coolest shit you've ever seen, coolest cars ever. Heath's story is really, really, really neat and inspiring. Heath, and I know actually Heath through our wives becoming friends that we hooked up, but he started off his business when he was he was in college flipping cars, finished, graduated from Davenport University, took a corporate job, and was detailing cars on the side out of his apartment. I think at one point in the story, he told us he had like 7 or 8 cars parked in this apartment complex. His neighbors probably hated him.
Yeah, the neighbors didn't like it.
Yeah, I didn't like it at all. And he took this, what was really neat and inspiring, and I'm trying to summarize it, as he took this side hustle is what you would call it, right? This side gig to make money, and he turned it into a thriving business. And what Heath, when we had you on last time, and for our listeners, what was really neat, and some of the things I'd point out was the ability to see the opportunity quickly. I mean, I know you were doing it for a while, but you challenged yourself to say, hey, if I dive into this 100%, I think I can make it work. I think I can do this full time. And I think at one point of the story, you said, you and Shelby were engaged at the time, right? Engaged at the time. And you said, I'm going to quit Meyer. I want to do this full time. And she's like, probably like, holy shit, like this is a bad idea. And you think you told us you took a wad of cash and you put it down on the counter and said, like, this is real. I can do this. And so for our listeners, again, I'm summarizing some of these cool details I saw. But Heath's been running Hoogs Customs for what, 5.5 years now?
Yeah, we're going on year 6.
Year 6.
So.
Thriving. He's got several employees. He's had a couple different shops. He works on Ferraris, Lamborghinis. I mean, dude drives a Trailhawk. No, I'm kidding. I'm messing with you. I had to throw that in there for you. A manual geek at that. He's just got an unbelievable story. And again, I know I'm gassing you up today, guys. If you're listening, we're gonna get into some more of his business acumen. We're gonna dive into some of his fitness and health routine. Probably talk a little bit hunting and fishing, and then wrap it up with some lessons he's learned from some of his customers. So I hope I did you justice there.
Yeah, no, that was spot on. I think the beginning of any entrepreneur's career is the leap of faith, right? It's can I make this sustainable? And I mean, I started, yes, my mom, I was selling necklaces at baseball tournaments. I've always tried to find a way to make money.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this was the first, like, hey, I could make this a career. I mean, I did meal plans and workout programs. That's how I paid for Shelby's ring to get engaged. And that just wasn't sustainable whatsoever because I mean, it's you can't mass produce something like that. Whereas detailing and the customization of vehicles, I can teach somebody else to do the same thing I'm doing,
Right.
which would obviously expand the business. And if you ever notice, like all my posts and stuff like that, I never say I. It's a we. It's a team. There's some stuff quite literally I don't even touch. And it's just I have great people in great places. Our tint and all our vinyl wraps are done by basically he's 1090. So he's like he's his own boss, but he works with us a couple days a week. He's just getting our shop truck. We just bought a shop truck, so we're tinting it out, debadging it, putting a big Hoogs Customs wrap on the side.
Oh, that's gonna look sick.
Yeah, it'll be pretty cool. It's the first we've always driven our own vehicles to go pick up customers' cars and stuff like that. And I'm like, why not get something super functional? If we got to go get parts, we grab the shop truck, go. Just everyone can use it. But back to like just having people in. I'm sure if you talk to any successful business owner, it's having the right people in the right places. We offer bed liners, we offer undercoating, we offer lift kits, rims, tires, tonneau covers, running boards, whatever aftermarket part you want. If you want to throw a turbo on whatever vehicle you have, we'll figure it out. But I don't do any of that. I just have people in the right places to be able to offer it. Really, our bread and butter is paint correction, simply put, the restoration of paint and protection. So, yeah, we've had some cool stuff in recently, and it's like we were saying, networking. I've been working on this customer for about 3 years, honestly, and he finally broke, and we basically made him a lifelong customer now. So, yeah.
Heath, I love how you mentioned you've kind of put the right people in the right places. I think too many people underestimate the importance of that. And speaking from my perspective too, whether or not you're self-employed or you work in a large organization, there's always that feeling of, well, I want to have full control. And that means so many different things. But if you truly want to be successful, you've got to hand the reins over to other people to let them kind of run with certain aspects, because you can't do it all, especially if you're trying to scale. So really just wanted to sprinkle that in there and, piggyback on to what I heard you say. And I think that's extremely important for anyone listening. It's like, look, there's going to be a point in time. Again, if you're self-employed or if you're working in a large organization, small organization, you've got to be willing to delegate things and figuring out what that right balance is. So love hearing that message.
Well, and it's resourcefulness too, right? Mm-hmm. And I think, Hayden, to that point, like it sounds like Heath, like you took the ability to put a team kind of to the next level, right? You're like, okay, what pieces can I get together that are going to impact this, and how do I build those relationships? But also, like, I'm a huge believer that if you empower people to do things, they are going to work so much harder and better for you and do better work, right? So you're saying you're going, it's a team effort here. I've got people I trust to do this, and they're going to do that to the best. I'm not going to micromanage them. I know what I'm good at, and I'm gonna facilitate them being the best version of themselves in whatever facet that is. And that's when you get the best work. That's also when you get transparency. That's also when you get like people that have more integrity, have more forthrightfulness. I mean, there's a lot of things that I think as humans that we forget are so great about letting some control go. We're like, oh, we want to control all aspects of this shit, right? And it's like, well, if you let some go, you actually gain a level of understanding and a lot of times better results by saying, hey, you know what, I'm going to empower you to do this. And it's interesting. I mean, that doesn't work every time, right, Heath? I'm sure you can attest to that. Like, there are duds. There's definitely duds out there, but
yeah. But a lot of it too is once you delegate that, like I can wrap to a certain extent, I can tint to a certain extent, I can throw a lift kit on, I can do pretty much everything we offer. I can do, but there's the people that I have doing it is they're better than I am, and on top of that, that allows me not to make the quality of what I do really good go down because I'm trying to do 16 other things, because that never works out.
Right.
specialize.
So that's why I always wanted to be the one-stop shop. I mean, it's crazy to think. I talked to a customer today. He wants his whole truck built, lift, rims, tires. Um, and then another customer wants a bed liner. And then I'm doing quotes for ceramic coating. And I can offer it all. And we're not, making a killing on the stuff we don't actually do. But I also can't afford to bring a whole build. I can't afford to pay the employees at a whole build shop.
Right.
They're already established. They do great work, so we send all our stuff to them. Same with painting vehicles. I don't paint vehicles, but if you ask me to do something, I can send you in the right direction. So it's all about networking. It's figuring out how to help others, and obviously that token will come back. So if my painter that I send all my work to, if he gets somebody saying, "Hey, do you guys detail cars?" He's obviously going to be like, "No," but Heath does. Go contact Hooks Customs. They'll get you hooked up. Same with my build shop. Same with pretty much everyone that you network with, right? So
I got a follow up question because this is where my brain's going with this. Is I hear you talking these different, there's different levers you're basically pulling, right? Like in life, but in business specifically, you've pulled this lever and this lever and this lever to be able to set yourself up to be able to say like yes, but not over promise and under deliver. Like you can say yes, but you've pulled the lever of this contact over here, so you can still say yes, but you're not going to let the customer down. So go ahead.
Yeah, and sometimes it's I know a lot about lifting trucks. What's going to fit when you lift a Chevy 7 inches? You're probably only fitting 35 12 wides. I mean, there's so many different variables when it comes to that type of gig that half the time I say call Sean at Gas Pedal Customs. He'll hook you up because I'm not making really any money on the sale. Like, I mean, we're talking pennies on the dollar compared to what the build shop's going to make. So why am I going to sit here and try to explain all this stuff when the person that's going to be actually profiting from the job knows well more than I do? They know way more, and they're going to be more invested to talk to this customer and talk him through every option that he has. And some customers contact us and say, "Hey, I want black rims and they need to be 20s for my Chevy." And it's like, dude, you know how many black rims are out there for a Chevy? Like, come on. So a lot of that stuff is like, I don't have time to send you options because I know when I build my own stuff, I'm very particular. Like the rims are the one thing you're going to be keeping on that vehicle for a long time. You don't got to love the tires. You're going to get new tires eventually. You got to love the rims. And investing my time into that just doesn't make sense when the person profiting can do the same thing and they're going to be the ones getting paid for the job. So yeah,
that all makes sense. I mean, certain things are only worth the squeeze. You don't want to be investing too much time and money in something that might not have a strong ROI. I want to dive back into something that you mentioned a couple minutes back around how you've got a great team around you. What are some of the more rewarding things when it comes to leading and working with others? And then part two, what are maybe some of the opportunities or kind of downsides or things that are a pain in the butt when it comes to working with others?
Yeah. I think the most rewarding thing is seeing them thrive through your coaching.
Yep.
I mean, one of my employees, his name's Jeremy. He's 20 years old, but he's been with me for 3 years. And I trust him with when he says something's done, it's done. Like I don't have to worry about it. I trust him with everything. Um, and seeing him grow and start to be looking at houses at the age of 20, which I'll tell you, I didn't buy my first house at 20 years old. And start to grow in life even more than anything is super cool. Like I always joke around at the shop, like when the employees start thinking about buying, their first cool car, their Porsche or
Right,
something,
right.
that's when we've really made it. Because
That's neat.
that means that they like we've worked hard enough that they are earning that claim to fame, something they've wanted forever. Because you mentioned it earlier, the Trackhawk. I've wanted one for 3 years.
Right.
Finally could actually make it happen, and that was a big step for me. Like I never had anything like that. I mean, I drove Wranglers and big trucks and stuff like that. But when I finally could make it happen, I was like, dude, I have to. And now I'm on my second one. So it's rewarding in that sense. And it's even cool to see like Jeremy, he whips the Trackhawk more than I do. So it's cool to see him get excited over something like that too. And be able to share it. I mean, like I said, he probably drives it more than I do. So
I had to tell you, you gave me chills when you made the comment, because that's the stuff that Hayden and I, we talk about this a lot on Unscripted, and a lot of our listeners hear it. But
yeah.
like seeing other people get to where they want to go, right, is like massive. Like how much more rewarding is that for you?
Oh, it's so rewarding. I mean, I'm never going to throw numbers out there because I was taught that you never talk about pay, religion, or anything of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
But you'd be sometime private conversation. I'll tell you how much Jeremy started at and what he makes now. I'm very generous with the fact of if you're working your absolute ass off, you're making my life easier because whether I like it or not, I'll be on the phone half the day anyways. Which means I'm half the day I can't be on a buffer because it's too loud. Um, and you're like significantly getting better at what you're doing. I don't have we meet bi-yearly just to talk about things that we can improve, what they think the business should be doing differently, if there is anything. But I don't say, okay, first quarter, we're going to talk about a raise. That's not how it works. If you show me you're working your ass off and I see it and you're making everything more efficient, then you're going to get paid more, period. Like I don't see it as, you know, let's talk at some certain point and figure it out. And
Love
both,
it.
yeah, we just brought on a new employee, Cole's, was that brother-in-law?
Shout out Noah.
Yeah, Noah. Yeah, he started Monday.
Heck
And I
yeah.
told him the same thing. I said, I like to bring Jeremy in on everything in terms of talking to new people, new employees and stuff like that, because he knows firsthand. I mean, he's seen the ladder of how do I get to where I need to be going. And obviously there's a cap to that too, right? Because like if the business isn't making enough money to give you a raise that's going to be sustainable, then you got to have that conversation.
Right.
But it's definitely um, it's so rewarding being able to have that conversation and be like, hey, well, this is your new pay, you earned it. um, let's keep going because it's not going to stop. I always tell Jeremy, when we're I don't think I'll ever be satisfied just because that's who I am as a person. I always want to keep building. um, but the joke's always when I'm on a beach in Jamaica, you'll be right next to me because you're that second tier, been
Well,
with me forever. So it's motivating to be able to see that and know that you had a huge part of it. So
Dude, that stuff. I'm just telling you, man. I can't. Like this stuff gets me so. You know, everything you said there is just so valuable that it's hard. I don't want to I don't even want to devalue it by like adding to it. I mean, because each point you just made is what every single good, great entrepreneur, leader of men, leader of women, leader of people should. Yeah. That is like, you boil it down to the core, and what you just described is what what great leaders do, what great business people do. Is they say, They say, hey, I don't want to just be the only one making money. I want you, and not just me, I want you to bring your family along with us, all right? I want to see you grow, right? I've got I can't wait till you have your kids and you can buy them their first car and you can put them through college and pay in cash. I can't wait to see that, because that's when you know you really did it, right? Is that you brought people along with you instead of just standing there and waving down at them. I mean, nobody wants to be at the top of the mountain by themselves, right? I mean, that's kind of shitty. I mean, that's, you know what I mean? It's fun to be at the top of the mountain, but if you're on the mountain all by yourself, man, you don't have anybody to hang out with, right? Bring everybody with you.
Yep. And that was one of Jeremy's hardest, one of his hardest obstacles is his age. Because I mean, he's 20, so, and he looks younger. He doesn't look old for his age. He looks his age. So some of the customers, and it really pisses me off sometimes when he's trying to talk a customer like, hey, this is kind of the synopsis and a dumbed down version of how we're going to remove the swirls and the scratches in your vehicle and then protect it. And they're looking at him like, do you even know what you're talking about? And that's what irritates me the most, because that kid's so knowledgeable over the years of just learning and experience. But he's started to get to the point where his customer service is starting to come full circle and be able to talk to people. We had it was supposed to just be a car show get together. I think it was in September, and I mean, it was a great turnout. I mean, we had the whole parking lot full. There's probably 65 cars there. And he was going around talking to everyone. So that made me super proud, because I was like, that's awesome. That's sweet. So, and obviously having a passion for anything you do is gonna extend your conversations. Like, I never thought I'd know so much about, you know, Lamborghinis, classic Lamborghinis, Ferraris, the higher end cars. But if you're talking to a guy that has a Ferrari and you know something about his car, it goes a longer way than if you're like, oh yeah, tell me something about it. You know what I mean?
Right. So, it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to talk to somebody that's uneducated. Like, I don't want to educate you at this point.
Yeah. And there are some cars that are like, I just had a customer call me not too long ago with a Lamborghini Countach, and he educated me a ton on Lamborghini. It's the Lamborghini in Wolf of Wall Street. That's probably what you know it from, the old school 80s.
So sick.
That's unreal.
Yeah, and apparently it's one of one in the spec, the white with black interior, and then it being a Euro spec car. So when Lamborghini releases cars, they spec them for overseas and here. So it's hard to get a Euro spec car in the United States, because that means you had to have bought it secondhand from somebody overseas. So, yeah, he said it's like one of one, and those cars right now, their market value is like anywhere from, I mean, depends on the buyer, but anywhere from 1.3 million to 2 million. So, yeah.
Damn.
He's owned 27 different ones, Countaches.
Dude, this dude's got some cash, baby.
That's like his niche, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that he knows, and that's what he stays with. So, and we actually connected because I sold him a Trackhawk that was one of my customers. So he was never actually a customer. He lives 2 hours away from me, but now he's potentially going to be a customer because of that connection that we made.
That's when you know you're doing well, when you got people coming, you know, a few hours away to do business with you. That's awesome.
Yeah, no lie. Year one, I had a dude come from New York.
Wow.
And it was just because, like, I hounded him on, like, he was on Midwest truck page or something. And I told him our prices, and he's like, dude, that's such a good deal. I'm Saturday, I'm driving there. I'm like, what? That's an 9-hour drive, dude.
That's
Sure
such a
enough.
cool story. Well, Heath, I got another question for you. I mean, hearing your story not only tonight more, but we connected earlier this year, as Cole mentioned. You're extremely motivated. You want to continue to grow. You're trying to chase. What's the next thing? What's more? What else can I do here? How do you
Yep.
go about trying to like scale your business or assessing, okay, like maybe I'm not good here. Do I need to hire this type of person? Walk us through kind of that thought process in terms of how you want to grow and take those next steps for your business.
Yeah, I've always believed in growing organically. So I'm not gonna say I try like I do something specifically to try and grow the business. Um, it's more so making those connections and jumping in a different circle.
Okay.
Like for example, I don't know, it had to have been early September, late August. We worked on a Lamborghini Gallardo, which is like a early 2000s Lamborghini. Guy's name was Craig. I met him 2 years previous, and he finally was. I saw him at a car show, and he was like, "All right, whatever. I'm bringing my Lambo to you." Um, and he's the one. He went to bat for me with that customer with the collection of the Murcielago, Diablo, six Ferraris, Porsches, BMWs, all this stuff. Um, and he was like, "Hey, come up to this dude's car show, bring him." You probably saw it, but it's the Ferrari 458 Liberty Walk, which just the Liberty Walk wide body kit on that car is like 60 grand.
Dude,
So
it's dirty.
on airbags, it was beautiful, and it was built for SEMA. Um, so he owns it now, and he was like, "All right, whatever, I'll bring it up." Well, he shows up to the car show with that and a Lamborghini Murcielago, which is like a Lamborghini Mercy is unreal. Like I've only seen two in person, and both of them were this guy's cars.
Damn.
So he showed up with that, and at that point, I'm like, "Leave the Mercy. Like you can take the Liberty Walk. Like the Mercy's sweet." So he left us with the Liberty Walk, and like I said, Craig, the guy with the first Lambo, he went to bat for me. He's like, "You get your car up here, give it to him." Because I was hounding him the day previous, trying to get it for the car show, get it all done and ready to go and display it. I'm glad that didn't happen though, because we had a cumulative of probably it was like 14 or 15 hours into that car, because they just, I mean, SEMA, those build guys really don't take care of their stuff. So we were wet sanding the whole rear end. There was road paint all over it.
What's SEMA? Sorry, you said that. I have to ask.
Like it's one of the biggest. It happens at the end of November. It's one of the biggest automotive, I guess.
It's a car show. Is it?
Like so? Like people will build specific vehicles, like one-offs, to bring to SEMA and display them so that they can sell those kits potentially.
Okay.
Like Liberty Walk is really well known in the supercar industry because of their wide body kits and how good they look. So that Ferrari, I mean, legitimately we had to wet sand the whole rear end, which adds hours onto the process because you're literally taking sandpaper and putting it on the car. And then you have to buff out of it to get that clear image on the black. So once we finished that one, it was game over. It was a Ferrari a day for the next week and a half, and then the Lamborghini Diablo, the Lamborghini Murcielago, the Porsche Speedster S wide body. I mean, and he's still got some cars that he's like, "Hey, I want this done, blah, blah, blah." But it's like getting in that circle, that bubble of, because that guy, he's a very, very successful entrepreneur. He knows 16 other people with Lamborghinis and, one-off cars. And he was a good friend of a customer that had a Cobra kit car. It was a 1968, one of the most beautiful kit cars I've ever seen in my life. And now they're both trying to get me into another customer that has 75 cars in his collection. So it's like just doing good work for one person kind of is going to grow the business.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And as of late, I mean, yeah, we work on pretty awesome stuff. and it's a lot of work to get those cars in the shop. But we also we never turn down business. We're working on, I mean, shoot, today we had a 2007 F-150, a 2016 Chevy 1500, F-350.
Yeah, you're still pumping the cars in. Whatever car it is, you're going to take it, right?
Yeah, 100%. But like working on those higher end stuff, it just gives you so much more, I guess, leverage from the standpoint of marketing. And I mean, we posted a video today of the Diablo, and the customer with that massive collection texts me instantly. He's like, dude, I need that video on my phone. Like, send it to me right now. And I said, I'll do you one better. I'll send you all the videos we've done of your cars that haven't been posted yet. So he was going crazy over all that. But Jeremy, again, he does that in-house, and it takes him, I mean, he puts a lot of time into those videos. But it just gives us another element of advertising.
Yep.
So, I mean, even if it wasn't a vehicle that we've worked on, if somebody posted a Liberty Walk 458 cool video, I'm watching it 100%.
Heck yeah.
Liking it, watching it. I might even comment. I don't know. So, it's been awesome. I mean, we never worked on an R8. Last time I was telling you guys, R8s were my kryptonite, and now we have two. So it seems like everything comes in twos, because worked on a V8 R8 and then a V10 manual R8 and then an AMG GT R, which is the highest of the GTs. And then a GTS came in 2 weeks later because he saw the one before, and he's like, oh, dude, that's the same car I got. I'm going to bring it in. So still the only kryptonite now is the Nissan GTR. Never worked.
I think I saw recently you guys at least detailed a Sea-Doo. Is that correct? Did I see something like that? Yeah. Was that your first boat? I guess it's not really a boat, but first water vehicle.
We've done tons of boats. It's just weird how I was talking to a customer about this past summer too. We probably only did a handful of motorcycles, whereas season before we did like 35.
Do you have any insight or thoughts into why that might be? Like, is there a macro trend? Yeah.
No
idea. Yeah.
But yeah, we did a Sea-Doo, and then we did a really nice Mastercraft, and that was after we did.
What's a Mastercraft? Sorry to cut you off. Is that like just another type of what is it?
Boat.
Oh, okay.
It's a boat.
Yeah.
I don't know much over here.
That was probably one of the nicest boats I've ever. Like, that boat cost almost as much as my house.
Oh, I believe it. Did you know what that was? He's sitting over here like, yeah, I knew what a Mastercraft was.
Yeah, it was like a 24-foot speedboat essentially. But
damn,
they're sick.
We've worked on yachts and stuff like we do yachts pretty much in the winter. So we have to go. I think we're going to be going to Grand Traverse this year, which is about 2 hours north of us, for a customer. He has a 43-foot Tierra yacht and then a 34-foot. And then we have to go to Holland and make our rounds out there for yachts that we've already done, but just maintenance stuff.
So how far are you traveling to some of these folks?
Wherever, as long as it pays.
Yeah. Wow.
It's one of those things that I always tell customers, it has to pay equal or more than what we would make here.
Right. It has to make sense financially, or it's like it's a stupid move.
Yeah. It makes no sense for me to lose money to go over and do a hand wash on a vehicle 2 hours away. It just makes no sense.
Let me ask this then. What's the farthest distance you guys have traveled for a client?
Florida.
Wow. Did you guys drive or fly? How's that all work?
We flew in. We stayed for about a week. We worked on a 44-foot center console boat, and then a 24-foot boat, and then a car. So, yeah.
That's another one of those. Because you've told me about your customer that you've gone down there for.
Is it Jeff Bezos? No, we don't need to go.
He's too small time for Heath. He doesn't have enough cars.
Your yacht's not big enough, sir.
You know, just listen to all the stuff. Like, first of all, Heath, you have to understand that, like, Hayden and I, like, we think cars are cool. But we're like, we don't know. I mean, we think a cool boat's cool, right? We're like, oh, that we can't tell the difference, right? So we're just going, holy shit, that's like you're an expert, which is neat, which is really neat. And you know what I think the underlying theme of that, you laying out this networking journey, right? And these different people and meeting these different people.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing is passion, right? So having a passion for something, being curious, like being interested, like having a genuine interest. You go talk to somebody and you're full of shit and you're faking it, they're going to know, right? Like you go up and go, "Ooh, tell me about
that's
your
the
car.
worst.
Like, let me sell you something." Like, you're like, "Dude, I want to work on your car because it's fucking sick." And like,
Yeah.
but that goes like that genuine. So, some like what I'm hearing is this genuine curiosity to learn more. And by doing that organically, it has put you in these circles that have, again, helped you spread your right. And so I think, people, you would never call yourself a salesperson, but
No.
you're an all-star because you're networking, but you're not doing it for the wrong intentions. You're doing it because you know that you've got something you can do very well for them and you're passionate about it. And I just think that's what I wanted to point out from all of that. Like that energy around these different cars and these different things. And I liked the one of the questions I think I was going to ask Hayden. You kind of beat me to it. Was the strategy, was how much time? And I think you already answered it, which I think a lot of us, get caught in this bubble. I mean, this is where Hayden and I work very, very well together. Is that I'm all about like go, 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 like light a fire under my ass, run, run, run. And Hayden's super, super strategic, right? So we balance each other. But a lot of people are either have this one or the other. And I think it's interesting to hear that you've it sounds like unintentionally have a very, very specific strategy. I don't think you and maybe you have thought it out, but I'm like, that's very strategic, but it also fits you and what you're trying to do. And that's just really, and again, I like the message that you're sending, and maybe you can add more color to this. You're not trying to just conquer the world overnight. You're trying to make sure that you're building a network and spreading it. So like that organic comment you made, you're seeing it grow exponentially because you're not just trying to shove things down people's throats.
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of it too, like back to the customer with the Lamborghini Gallardo that went to bat for me. He buys and sells classic cars. So like he has 85 cars right now that all are going to somewhat cycle through Hook's Customs. But another key point is having trust, because if the customer's collection, the Lamborghini Murcielago is probably right around gated manual and that spec, probably $500,000. The Diablo is right around $200,000. I mean, that's a lot of money to leave with someone if you don't necessarily trust them.
Yep.
So building that trust, and every time I have a customer like that, I call them before I even touch the car and I tell them what I think it needs. It doesn't need more than this. This is what it needs to get it, put back in your showroom, because he has one out with his shops. But being trustworthy, like we got a good customer up here. His name's Ryan. He actually is dropping his truck off, I think tonight. But he called me and was like, "Hey, I'm trying to sell my wife's vehicle." I was like, "All right, sweet. Quick polish, get the exterior shining, nothing crazy. Interior, get some good photos, you can sell it." He's like, "No, I want a 3-year ceramic coating. I want like the next person to be happy with the protection that's on it." And I'm like, "You don't need to do that to sell your, don't dump more money into it if you're just going to sell it." "Nope, that's what I want." I was like, "All right, my hands are,
Right, but
I'll tell
you're
you-
saying, "Hey, save your money." You're like, "Yeah, I can." You could just as easily be like, "Hey, I'll do it."
I'm not going to try and oversell somebody for something they don't need. So like some of these cars, I tell people straight up.
Do you know how important that is? Sorry to jump in and cut you off. I mean, that's why you're talking about building trust, and that's like a perfect example of, look, I'm not going to be some shady salesperson that's going to try to tack on all these add-ons like, oh, you need this and that, when you're trying to help the customer be like, look, this is kind of what I would go with. Now there's probably certain situations where they're like, no, I want this, and it's like, fine, yeah, we'll go with what you want, but like, here's my recommendation. Don't spend all this extra money because you probably don't need it. And that's super key to building that trust and having loyal customers come back to you, and share word of mouth marketing, as you mentioned too.
100%. I mean, it's always customers that, like, I got the customer that owns a massive roofing company up here, and the first car he ever brought me was a Porsche Taycan, which is the fastest production Porsche. It's all electric. He got a 7-year ceramic coating done on it and sold it after 11 months. I'm like, so the next car he brought in, I was like, you really don't need to do this.
You're like, you're probably gonna just get rid of it.
You're not going to keep it that long. And he's like, nope, I'm doing it. I'm like, all right, whatever. So at least I try to help him out a little bit, but sometimes it's if they want it, they want it, and that's how it's going to be. So
exactly.
But having the customer service and loyalty aspect of it is huge, because I'm not going to call a customer and tell them they need something they don't need.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, it's their call. One thing that sometimes I tell customers that would be smart is I call it spot wet sanding. So not wet sanding the whole vehicle, but specific spots that there's deeper scratches than other areas. And obviously it's more expensive because it turns a paint correction, a 2-stage paint correction with compound and polish, into like 5 steps. So it adds on time, but I rarely call people that and tell them they need that, because normally I can read a customer off, just talking to them. If they're going to be super picky, then I'll call them for sure, because I want them to know, like, I can get this better, but it's going to be this much more because of the time that it involves. And, sadly, some customers you'll spend, we had our first Lamborghini Aventador was like 2 summers ago, and we literally spent like almost a week on this car, and he was like, yeah, it looks good. I'm like, okay. But then you have customers that go over and above and notice the little things.
You're like, please give me something more than that. You're literally sitting there with a bow on it, and he's like, cool, thanks.
So that's the thing too. It's like I try to, and I teach the guys this too. I try and do so much to the vehicle, like the crease between the taillight and the quarter panel, and the gas cap when you open it. I want it to look brand new, like little stuff like that. So like maybe 2 days after this car gets detailed, this guy goes to, or guy or girl goes to put gas in their car, and they're like, what the hell? Like, just the little things is really what makes you stand out. I call it framing of a vehicle. If you can't get the perfect, make the wheel wells look brand new, make sure every lug nut's polished, make sure every little crease of the weather stripping and every panel crease is done to perfection. Because if you do everything around the paint to look perfect, the paint's naturally going to look better. It's like any type of painting or picture. You just have the painting or picture sitting there, you're like, oh, that looks sweet, but if it had a nice frame around it.
So true. Yeah. I might have to quote you on that. I might have to like put that up. Yeah. That was a good one. Dude, that was a good one. Who'd you steal that from?
I actually, a massive, very well-known detailer. His name's Larry. He owns Ammo NYC. If you want to hear some nerdy stuff about detailing, look him up on YouTube. But he's been so successful with his own product lines and detailing that he's worked on like one special edition Ferraris, like the I might butcher this. It's like the P45, I believe, P4-5.
You could have made some random thing up, and Cole and I would have been like, "Oh yeah."
I know, but if somebody watching, Google it.
No, the P45, yeah.
Yeah, the P45, but they there's only one in the world, especially built for specific customers. So like that's the I made it wealth wise is when you call Ferrari and you say, hey, I don't want your basic model, I want to design one. So, and I watch his videos all the time because there's little stuff that somebody else might do different.
Yep.
That you can try and work into your work essentially. Like I network all the time. I got a good buddy out in Spring Lake, Grand Haven area. His name's Cody. He owns the detail shop. You should look him up. He's very good at what he does too. I mean, we've started to become friends and just we're not in the same population.
Yeah, you're not competing in the same territory.
Yeah, we each have our own customer base, and he's very, very good at what he does. So even just, connecting with him, and every time we get like that whole collection we went through, the Diablo, the Murcielago, the Liberty Walk, every single one, I was like, Cody, if you're free today, come out and work on it with me. Like, let's like collaborate and do something. Just because I think seeing somebody else that's very good at the same craft as you, seeing them work and how they do things can help you be a better, individual of yourself. You can learn a new way to do something. Like if you came in our shop and you saw me do a full exterior, and then you saw Jeremy do one, the whole process is different. Like he does things first that I don't do till I'm done with the paint. So it's all about, being efficient and doing it the same way every time, so you're getting everything done. So
and taking something out of it, right? Like you said,
100%.
if you can get like one thing, if you get one thing, it's like a conversation. You get one thing valuable out of it, the conversation was worth it.
Yep, 100%.
So I'm going to take us down a slightly different path here. I mean, it's all related. Cole and I are very outspoken, or we're trying to be outspoken around mental health. We've had a couple of episodes talking about that in a real recent episode, but kind of walk us through, maybe if you feel comfortable. There are days where we all are like, crap, this isn't a good day. Maybe you're feeling a little crappy for whatever reason. Like, how do you manage, those negative emotions or the self-doubt? And maybe you don't deal with that, or that's something that you don't want to talk about, but I think it's really important for any listener out there. It doesn't matter if you're the CEO of a company, like everyone has tough days. So are you willing to share anything around that?
Yeah. I mean, so the only way my guys know if I'm stressed is I just don't talk. I don't want to say anything that I don't mean. And I want to get everything done so that the stress starts relieving. So like perfect example of this was the day of the car show. Okay. Car show I said it started at 6. So I had to be done with work. Everything has to be done. Everything that came in beforehand to get prepped for the car show has to be parked. Everything has to be done by 4:30, no later.
Yep.
Well, we finally bought my wife a Tahoe. She's wanted one, and the market was great to buy one, to get her one and get her out of her current vehicle.
Not that I didn't love the minivan, but good call.
Yeah. Did you see the Tahoe
Dude,
done though?
No, is it sick?
Oh yeah. I mean, we wrapped the grill, we wrapped all the window trim, we painted the calipers yellow.
What year is it?
17.
Okay, it's badass. I mean, it's relatively new.
Yeah.
It's sick.
It's but the day of, okay, this is the first car that Shelby has had pretty much full reign on. I mean, I chimed in my input. Everything was chrome. I was like, we got to get rid of all that. We got to do some custom stuff. And I gave her pretty much, this is what I would do, but it's your car. Like, here's the rim options. Here's all this stuff. Have fun. Do your thing. And I stayed till midnight 2 days before, because instead of just doing a basic white grill with a black bow tie, we did a full white grill with black on the chrome of the bow tie and a white center of the bow tie, just to make it like just
sick.
You'll have to send us a photo.
Yeah, I will. Actually, I'll do that right now.
Yeah, in real time. That way we can really react to it. Technology, gotta love it.
Dude, I want to see it.
Yeah, I'm getting pumped up hearing this.
I'll send you the full before and after. Where I'm going with this is, so this Tahoe, right? It's in my shop. We've been grinding away on it, and here's the before and after. we've been grinding away on it and just like going crazy. And
Oh my gosh, it's unreal.
I mean, that's just fucking sick. Look at that. Look.
so here, I'll explain. We blacked out around the windows because it was all chrome. We custom wrapped the grill. We tinted the taillights. We painted the calipers yellow.
Chrome is so 1990s, early 2000s, but again, it's personal preference. Love that.
And then we blacked out the badges. We tinted the front side windows and the windshield.
That is sick.
That's so cool. Sorry, we're like, we gotta have to post this. We post this episode.
Yeah, but so we literally got to the shop the morning of the car show, and I look at shipping on the rims and tires, and it's at 5 a.m. They were still in, and I'm like, so my wife finally gets to build. Like, she picked out the rims, she picked out the tires. The only thing that I suggested that she didn't go with was I said she should have lowered it and slammed it, made it look like a street rod. But I get the notification that the tires and rims are still in Chicago at 5 a.m. I'm like, there's no way. And they're coming separate.
Yeah.
So we still got to balance, put them on. So literally we jacked the Tahoe up on jack stands and it's just sitting there. I didn't get those rims and tires on until 3:45. So like,
dude,
I didn't tell Shelby this the day of because I'm like, she needs her Tahoe done and parked out in front of the shop for the car show, period. So that was stressful as hell, along with the 6 other vehicles that I had to get done. So I always just try to keep a positive attitude because it seems like whenever something goes wrong, and I'm telling you, when one thing goes wrong at the beginning of the day,
it's a domino effect. Yep.
There's 16 other things. So just like I said, we got the rims at 3:45. It had to be done on the car. Well, we got them mounted and balanced, so we actually had them in hand going back to the shop at about 3:45. Well, guess what? We forgot the freaking black lug nuts. And there's no way I'm putting chrome lug nuts on this thing after all that work. Well, the one thing that went right that day, I had a set of Chevy 6-lug nuts. So it worked out. But that day, I mean, there was one thing after another, things going wrong. But it's just keeping a positive attitude and positive mindset because I've only been mad at an employee at the shop. I honestly can say in the last 5.5, 6 years, one time. And I made it known because I'm very laid back. But the reason I got mad is because one of the guys came in with a piss poor attitude. Piss poor. And not only was his attitude bad, it made everybody.
It affects it.
It's cancerous. Yeah.
It is. It's something that I don't tolerate. I'd rather have you just not talk all day.
Yeah.
Like what I do, I don't want to project anything on anybody. But there's days where I literally can't put my phone down during the summer, where it's like just one thing after another, and I know if I don't get to it right then and there,
you won't get to it.
Well, I'll get to it, but it'll be during a time where I'm trying to spend time with my daughter and my wife. So it's like, and having a supportive wife like I do is awesome because I could tell her I got to go to the shop right now after this podcast, and she'd say, "Okay, sounds good." So she is 100%
on your team. So she's on your team. She's on your team.
100%. So. But sometimes it's just overwhelming because it's like I look forward to coming home and seeing my daughter and hanging out with the wife and all that stuff. And there's times and days where it's like I can't. I gotta stay at work. Another great example was this Ford Mustang that we previously I had a guy.
Oh, Heath, I want to pause on that because I you're gonna get to this Ford Mustang, but. I want to get back to because we know each other very well. I mean, you know, we're really close, and you know, Shelby and Amanda are the bestest of friends. Our daughters are going to be best friends growing up. I mean, it's going to be awesome. And I really want to know, you know. So for those of you who know, he's mentioned his daughter. He's got this sweetest little. Who's 15 months old now?
Yeah.
Close. Beautiful wife that is way too good for him. Way better looking too. No, He's just got an amazing family. And what I want to ask you, Heath, is what have you seen in yourself change since you got married? So what's the biggest change you've seen in yourself since you've gotten married? And what's been the biggest challenge and change you've seen since you had your daughter?
Honestly, marriage, not much changed because we previously lived together. And we kind of already knew the business was started, so she knew. I mean, that first year when I was working on average 100-hour work weeks, taking literally, I think it took 2 or 3 days off that summer. And they were all around the 4th of July. She knew it would only get better type deal. So like now we don't work weekends. I spend weekends with the family. Not much changed from a marriage standpoint. I just always had to keep in mind that the occasional text her at 3:00 and say, hey, like nowadays, text her at 3:00, say, hey, my mom's going to come over and watch Harley tonight. We're going to go get a bite to eat. We're going to go spend time together, just us. Keeping that at the forefront and realizing that she needs personal time too.
Yep.
Is huge. And as a father, it's just different because I'll get home, Harley and my dog Gitta right at the door. They hear when I drive the Trackhawk home, she literally screams, like I can hear her dad, runs to the door, and it's a glass door, so you can see her just peeking out there waiting for me. But spending as much time as humanly possible with her, just flat out. I mean, we've gotten such a routine, me and Shelby, that like I wake her up every morning, change her diaper, bring her down to feed, and then before I go to work, always say, she always runs to the door and tries to keep me home. She's saying no a lot.
Oh,
So, no, and that makes it impossible to leave, obviously. But just making sure they're above work. You know what I mean? There's very select customers that if they call me when I sit down for dinner, if I'm going to answer that phone after 5:00. I've had it happen where I say a couple cuss words right when literally one day I got home, finally just sat down. Me, Harley, and Shelby were about to eat dinner, and this customer calls me, and I said, "Fuck." But I answered the phone. I was super happy. I was like, "Hey, what's up, man? How's it going? How can I help you?" But she knows that too. Like, there's probably 10 customers that if they called me right now, I'd probably tell you guys, "Hey, I gotta take this." Just because they've supported the business so much. But keeping the work life family balance is super important. And I mean, me and my wife have super open conversations. If I'm working too much or something like that, she would tell me straight up. She'd just be like, "Hey, like this is, there's occasionally gonna be the night where I'm at the shop till 8:00, 9:00, 10:00. Harley goes down at 6:30. I'm the one losing in the situation because I don't get to see my daughter before she goes down to, to bed." But yeah, just having a super open dialogue on everything is super important. I think in life with any relationship, really. Yeah, I mean,
kids change you though, don't they? I see the glow. Like the babies, the kids just like you said. It's totally when you're married and you're together, it's one thing, and then when you add the baby into it, it's like it's a whole nother layer of just like I want to be home with them as much as I possibly can. And
well, it's different for the ages too, right? So like when Harley started talking and talking and saying more or dada, or she loves peekaboo right now. But she doesn't. She just says boo. When they start to get a character, it's just so much more fun because it's like it's their personality coming to life. Whereas, I mean, I would go back to Shelby always asks me, what's your favorite age so far? And I always say now. Like right now is my favorite age because it's just always developing, and I think it's always going to develop. Um, Whereas like those first 4 months are awesome, just a little baby, and you just get to love on them, cuddle. They literally are depending on you to live. Well, their mom, but you guys
Yeah, I mean, they don't have, they don't. There's like you are
have one.
their world. You're their world.
Yeah, it's
I love
it's
that
way
answer too. Like,
now.
because I said it to Amanda, like she'll be like, well, like I wish I could go back to this time. I'm like, well, like, what's your favorite? I'm like, especially when they're that age. Like, Ava depends on the day. Some days I'm like, no, I wish I could go back when she was 6 and everything I said was golden. Okay, now she argues too much, but I love her to death still, all the same. But with Blake, yeah, I mean, like Blake's, just over a year old, and she's every day is something different, right? Like
Oh,
every day is like, dude. So she got baptized, and I'm going on a tangent, but she got baptized 2 weeks ago. I don't know. I'll have to send you the video. Thank you. Amazing. And she went up. We did everything, and people started like. We started walking down the altar, and everybody was clapping, and my mom was videotaping it, and she started clap. She had never clapped before.
Oh, really?
She had never clapped, but she's walking. We're walking down with her, and she sees everybody in the pews clapping. So literally in the video, she just starts clapping, like, and it's like that kind of shit. That's just like so cool, right? It's a new thing. So I really appreciate you sharing that. I know we're getting a little long on time. One more thing, I kind of wanted to ask you to wrap this up, and maybe Hayden has one or two more questions. I'm sitting here. I've been drinking these the whole time. You actually got one too, dude. Small world. Okay. These are non-alcoholic IPAs. Our listeners know I don't drink alcohol. I quit 9 months ago. Stopped drinking. Kind of tried it out, and I've stuck with it. Hayden hasn't drank for 8 years?
Just about, yep.
About 8 years. Heath quit. Stopped drinking 3 years ago? Something like that, right? I just want to ask you this, because we didn't really have enough time to get into the health and fitness stuff, which I really wanted to get into. Fantastic conversation, but I think this is important because for our listeners listening, and Hayden and Heath, and my sister-in-law Sam and Kyle, you guys are some of the core people that influenced me in a positive way to make the decision to not drink. I mean, I don't know if I ever thanked you. I'll thank you like on air. Thank you guys. It's been a huge life-changing thing for me to make that step. So my question to you is like, what, and keep it as relatively short as possible because we're kind of getting on time. But why did you quit drinking? You don't get all I did. Why did you stop drinking alcohol? And what benefits have you seen from that, mentally, physically, emotionally? I mean, why did you choose to do that?
Honestly, I my 3 years will be, I believe I have like an app. I think it's November 8th, I believe. Which will be 3 years of being sober. But it was, so my business, I mean, we talked about it a little bit, but my business goes really high up in the summer and just trickles down all winter. And honestly, the first couple of years were tough because I mean, you almost have to stock money to be able to get through winter. Whereas now we kind of have a game plan on how to leverage and make just as much revenue as we do in the summer during the winter. But I mean, I found myself some nights during the winter where I'm literally at home watching Netflix, just drinking for no reason. Like, there's no need to have vodka and orange juice.
Just sitting there, right.
Doing absolutely nothing, not in a social setting, nothing. So honestly, I was drinking for no reason and drinking a little too much. So I said, the only way I'm going to stop is by just nothing. Not, I'm only going to drink beers when I'm with my buddies. Like, no beer, no nothing. So, and honestly, after the first month, it was was a breeze. Like I've literally, I cannot tell you now that, I found non-alcoholic beer where I can still get that flavor, but I'm not getting drunk or anything like that. Um, I haven't thought about an actual drink in, a long time, long time. But the benefits, dude, I haven't been hungover in 3 years.
Dude, that's a competitive advantage.
Think about it. When back in, everybody has those college days. That Friday, well, we won't even say Friday because most people just started drinking early Saturday and rallied. But let's talk about Sunday when you wake up and you ruined your whole Sunday before Sunday even started because of your Saturday night. Like, think about the productivity of that and how. So that's 52 days in a year. If you went on that philosophy and you didn't drink any other days, 52 days out of 365 that you'd be hungover. Think about that. That's messed up.
That's wild.
Wasting 52 days of your life per year, which that's a lot of freaking days if you went over the course of like 5-10 years. So I just don't see it. I don't see a need to drink. I don't see, and it just solidifies my choice when like you see drunk people. It's thank God I'm not that guy. But it's been super beneficial. Back when I played football at Grand Valley, one of the going into my redshirt sophomore year, so junior year, when I was 255 and I was like, you know what, I'm going to drop down to like 230 and give myself a really good shot at playing. One of the things I cut out for my wellness was I said, I'm done drinking. Like, I'm going to eat healthy and I'm done drinking. That's all I did. Didn't change workouts, didn't change anything. Just watch what I put in my body. And I literally went from 255 to I was anywhere from 228 to 230 and 20 pounds down, playing a whole bunch better, feeling a whole bunch better. And it just makes a massive difference on your whole life, really. My wife she never drinks either. But it's just a health and wellness thing. Like, alcohol is not good for you if you didn't know. Like, it's
Do you think the fact that you don't drink tends to impact a lot of your positivity and your ability to prioritize and work longer hours? I mean, to me, there seems like a direct correlation, right?
Yeah, there usually is, right? When you're taking care of yourself from a health and wellness standpoint, it's going to affect the rest of your life. It's one of to be a well-rounded, healthy person, I would say mental health, if you're positive, you're uplifting to other people, you don't judge, you take it as it is, and then add your eating. If you eat healthier, you're going to feel better, which probably is going to help you have a more positive attitude. It all comes full circle, right? So, yeah, I don't miss it at all. I love not drinking. It's and plus, correct me if I'm wrong, but this does taste like a beer.
Dude,
I said it before we started. I said there's no way there's not beer in this.
Dude, this athletic brewing too. Literally tastes like a fucking IPA.
Knock out a 6-pack and you'd be good.
Dude, yeah, and you're like, it's the ritual, it's the fun. When we were goose hunting, man, everybody else was drinking beers. We were buying like cases of Budweiser Zeros. We were like, we were double fisting them in the hotel room, but we were feeling great in the morning.
Yeah, that's another nice thing about these, though, is the social setting aspect of things, right? It's like I remember I went up to one of my my buddy's bachelor party it was 2 years ago. So it was like 11 months or so after I stopped drinking. So I brought a 30 rack of two 15 packs of Busch NA, Busch non-alcoholic beer. And I could still have a beer in my hand. No one was looking at me weird because half the people just thought I was absolutely an alcoholic because I was drinking so many Busch NAs. And they didn't know the difference. But it allows you in a social setting to not either A, have a conversation about it to somebody that might need to have that conversation, or B, just fit in and you don't have to worry about somebody being like, why aren't you drinking? Because that's like if we went out to, one of my buddies said this too, it's like going out to eat and somebody randomly asking you why you didn't put mayonnaise on your cheeseburger. Like, why does it matter? Like, who cares?
Right.
I don't drink, period. So, yeah, I think it's all full circle. Like I said earlier, it's going to help you be more positive, more. Thing that sucks now is if I don't get enough sleep, like say I'm getting up at 5 a.m. to duck hunt and I didn't get to bed until, let's say, 11. For me, that's not much sleep. I feel hungover. You know what I mean? Like I just, my body doesn't feel right. So that's the weird part. Cause like I have had instances where I haven't got enough sleep and I've felt that. And I was like, God, thank the Lord that I don't drink anymore. Cause this sucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes.
But yeah, congrats on Hayden. I didn't know you've been sober that long. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been a minute, and I think it's different for each person in terms of why they choose to. But there's definitely some overlap from each person. And hearing you talk, I mean, there's literally no downside in stopping drinking. And I'm not going out telling people to stop drinking. Like, do you at the end of the day? It's fun. Don't get me wrong. But I've never heard someone say like, "Oh shit, I couldn't solve this problem because I wasn't drinking alcohol," or like, "My life would be so much better if I drank alcohol." It's like, no, probably the inverse would happen if I stopped drinking, and I'm seeing that.
Yeah, 100%.
You got any more questions?
I'll let you, if you have a couple, you might have one or two more.
I think I'm good for the time being. Yeah.
Man, fire episode, Heath. Seriously, we could keep going on probably all night. And I'm about to call you as soon as I get out of here and text you and be like, dude, we crushed that. Like, you did awesome. We appreciate having you on. I think your story is, again, like, your story's great. The conversation's great. I mean, I think
easy conversation.
Super easy.
Yeah, there's some people where it's like, you got to poke and pry for things, but it's just, it comes natural for Heath.
And I think people are gonna take something out of it too. I mean, if you're listening, you'll be able to pull some stuff out. And if you want to follow Heath, stay up to date with some of the badass cars he uses. He's at Hoogs.
That's my personal page.
Or you can do Hoogs Customs.
Yeah.
Hoogs Parts, Hoogs Custom Parts.
Yeah, that's more so just for like the aftermarket stuff. So we don't really post too much to there, but if we do wrap work or a full complete build, lift rims, tires, and stuff, we'll post it to both pages. And I think we're on TikTok now. Jeremy's kind of up doing that one, but he's put together some sweet videos for TikTok. So
Heck yeah.
And then that's pretty much it. Our business page on Google, I post a lot there. But yeah, Instagram's really the hub. That's where you're going to see everything. So yeah, it's just I think it's just at Hoogs_customs.
Well, and if you need help finding him, just reach out to us too. Heath's, again, thank you, man. He's one of my great friends. Appreciate having you on here. Awesome time. And we'll probably have you on again here in the next little while for round 3.
Yeah, round 3, and like let's aim for like next August.
Dude, that's perfect. Yeah. Then you'll have will you have another Trailhawk or?
I have mine up for sale right now.
Did you say you got a? We'll have to get into that later, but it is pretty sick. Maybe we'll have Mixon on here with you, and we can talk shop.
Dude,
that would be fire.
Manifesting it. It's going to happen.
It'll happen.
Heath, we appreciate you. Fire episode as always. We'll talk to you. Thank you, sir.
Hey, tell Shelby I said hello.
I will.
See you, brother.
guys.
Peace.
Bye.